The recap starts with our MC, Jean Mita, about to harvest his crops when, out of nowhere, a person appears in his rice field. Jean sees a silvery object shining. He thinks it's trash, so he immediately sprints over, only to find that it's armor worn by a female knight. Jean wonders if she's a cosplayer, but his farm isn't a famous spot for anime fans. He questions why she's collapsed in a place like this and tries to wake her up. She opens her eyes but looks confused. Jean notices her fair skin, golden hair, and clear emerald eyes. He's never seen someone this beautiful before. He asks if she understands what he's saying, but she suddenly stands and demands to know who he is, warning him not to get near her. He finds it strange. She was the one collapsed in his field, yet he's being treated like a suspicious person. She asks where she is and who Jean is, but he thinks that's supposed to be his line. He simply says it's his rice field and asks what she's doing there. She starts looking around and realizes she's in a completely unfamiliar environment. Jean decides it's best not to involve himself, and tells her to leave his field. But she grabs his shirt, asking again where this place is. Jean starts to get a bit irritated, but she wants him to answer seriously. He tells her this is Japan. She's never heard of the country before, which surprises Jean. He starts wondering if something might be wrong. He asks for her name, and where she's from. She introduces herself as the eldest daughter of the knight family serving the kingdom of Laforia, and her name is Seraphim. Jean is shocked. He's never heard of any of it. She raises her voice, claiming her kingdom is very powerful and that even a farmer should have heard of it. He says he still hasn't. He asks if he's one of those people who pretend to be anime characters from fantasy worlds. She thinks Jean is insulting her and unsheathes her sword, ready to fight. But her exhaustion catches up with her, and she starts to feel sleepy. She passes out, and Jean says he has no choice but to carry her. After a while, Seraphim wakes up and starts enjoying the beautiful scenery. She realizes she's on Jin's back and asks where he took her. He tells her this is his house. Jean is really tired and asks if she can walk on her own because her armor is heavy. He wonders how such a delicate girl is able to wear and walk in such heavy armor. To Jin's surprise, she then jumps over his fence with ease. The next chapter starts with Seraphim admiring Jin's house. She then enters the house, looks around a bit, and tells MC that his house was magnificent. MC is surprised and tells her it's just an ordinary house, though it was a little big. Seraphim was surprised that such an advanced village existed. She then starts walking around, but MC tells her shoes aren't allowed inside. He says that she has to take off her dirty armor too. She was surprised, but she didn't refuse to. She takes off her armor, and Jean is surprised that she wore ordinary clothes underneath. MC thinks she is tall but with proportions out of this world. If she went into showbiz, she would be a sensation, but at the time she was drenched and muddy. MC asks her to take a bath. She is surprised. MC then clarifies that she passed out twice in his field, so she was a little dirty. But she was actually surprised that he had a bath. MC says of course and then takes her to see it. Seraphim is blown away by him. A farmer, having a bath. A farmer has a bath, she shouted, surprised. But MC tells her he wasn't that broke. Her image of farmers worries MC. He then goes to fill in the hot water. After turning the tap, Seraphim is surprised that hot water was coming out. She asks if it was a magic tool, but Jean just tells her it's water. She is surprised that a farmer also owns a magic tool. She couldn't believe it. MC gets a little pissed and thinks she was making fun of him or something. She goes to the tap curious. Jean tells her to be careful, but she turns the lever and water pours on her, and she gets wet. Jean gets angry, telling her that of course she'll get wet if she pushes the shower lever. She apologizes, saying everything is new to her. He thinks even if she was a foreigner, she should still know about water heaters and showers. But her reactions say otherwise. It's like she is seeing these for the first time. He asks himself what kind of life she might have had. Do people avoid baths in other countries? MC asks if she does not know anything about baths. She agrees and asks Jean to teach her and apologizes for troubling him. He never thought he'd have to teach someone how to take a bath, but she didn't seem like she was lying. Time passes and we switch to after Seraphim finished her bath. In the last part, Jean Mita had just finished preparing the bath. We continue from there. Jean tells her that he'll prep some clothes for Seraphim, but she says he should just call her Sarah. Jean thinks she's strange, but she doesn't seem like a bad person. Sarah starts showering, clueless. Jean thinks about what clothes to give her, since he doesn't have anything for women in his house. If that's the case, his old PE uniform would be the best option. He goes to deliver the clothes. He reaches the bath just as she's stepping out and sees her in her birthday suit. He quickly backs off, shuts the door, and tells her it was an accident, and he wasn't trying to peek. He apologizes, and Sarah understands that he had no ill intentions. He's glad she understood. Sarah tells him to just forget that it happened. Jean says he left the clothes outside. Time passes to after she finished. Sarah apologizes for taking so long, and Jean asks if the clothes fit well. She says they fit perfectly, they're very comfortable, and she thanks him. Jean thinks his old clothes suddenly look fashionable when she wears them. Everything looks good when worn by a beautiful person. He then looks down and realizes she's not wearing a bra underneath. He gets a little nervous. There's nothing he can do, so he just pretends he didn't see. He asks if she wants to eat. She tries to say no, but her stomach growls mid-sentence. She gets embarrassed, and Jean goes to prepare the food. She asks if there's anything she can help with, but Jean says the guests should just wait for the food. While he's cooking, she thinks it smells really good. He finishes preparing the food, and Sarah thinks it looks delicious. She asks if it's really okay for her to join him. Jean says it's not an issue. She looks at the food, and Jean asks if there's anything she doesn't like. She says that's not the problem. She just doesn't know how she should eat the food. He tells her to use chopsticks, but remembers she's a foreigner and fetches a knife and fork. Sarah thanks him. He thinks that even though she speaks Japanese fluently, she doesn't know anything about the culture. She's a mysterious girl. The next chapter starts with Jean saying something, and Sarah asks what it means. Jean tells her it's a way of expressing thanks before the meal. Sarah didn't know of such customs, but she follows along, also expressing thanks. She picks up something and asks what it is. Jean tells her it's rice, from the field where he found her. She tries it and thinks it's delicious. Jean is glad she liked it. He tells her it tastes better when mixed with other dishes. She tries what he said and agrees. It's even better with side dishes. She tries the soup and asks what it is. Jean tells her it's called miso soup. She enjoys the soup and thinks it's delicious. Jean starts thinking about how many years it's been since he had a meal with someone. It's strange. They finish eating, and Sarah thanks Jean again. Jean finishes cleaning up the dishes. Sarah remembers she didn't ask for his name, and he introduces himself as Jean Mida. She says his name, but merges it. Jean thinks it sounds strange and tells her that Jean is his given name, and Mida is his surname. Sarah is surprised he has a surname, and asks if he's a noble. Jean tells her no, and that everyone in Japan has a surname. Sarah is surprised that there are no nobles. Jean tells her she's taking her pretending very seriously. But how long is she planning to keep it up? She stands and tells him she's not pretending and she's a real knight. Jean tells her she has something on her face. She then sits down. Jean then asks, if she's not pretending, where did she come from? She says she was in the forests of the Tswaij region of her kingdom, and that she'll explain what happened. Jean looks at her and says she still has something on her face. The next chapter starts with Sarah and her comrades facing off against monsters. The group didn't expect to face this many. They wanted to regroup, but Sarah continued fighting, killing monsters left and right. One of her comrades called out to her, but she told them to go, she would lure the monsters away. The battle lasted the whole night, leaving Sarah physically and mentally exhausted. She passed out along the way. When she woke up, she was in Jin's field. Jean looks at her and says he doesn't understand anything she said. Sarah agrees and says she doesn't know what happened either, guessing it might have been advanced magic. But Sarah didn't get what he meant by that. Jean says the location she mentioned doesn't exist. Sarah says that's impossible. She was just in that forest. She wants to go back to check if her comrades are safe and report what happened. Jean thinks for a second, then pulls out his phone to show her the map. Sarah gets excited and asks if it's a refined version of the heating equipment. Jean tells her it's just a phone, everyone has. He shows her the world map. Sarah is shocked that her kingdom isn't on it. She walks toward the door. Jean asks what's wrong. Sarah says she's grateful and will repay him someday. Jean asks where she's going, then Sarah says she's going back to her kingdom. Jean reminds her that it doesn't exist. But she jumps, lands on the ground, then tells Jean they'll meet again. She then starts sprinting. Jean thinks what she did can't be shrugged off. It was beyond what humans could do. He starts thinking about her, then stops, saying it's none of his business now. He looks at the time and remembers he had to deliver produce, and he's out of time.